anthem and the CIBN national anthem. And then I'll give you a little bit more of what to expect from this morning. Thank you.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, the bankers guiding light. It's the nation's joy and pride. We aim for integrity in the industry, open ethics and professionalism. Citadel of excellence. Let's trust and honesty.
Thank you very much. I still haven't gotten used to our new national anthem, but it's growing, it's getting there. To kick off as well, I'd like to call on our Honorable Secretary at the Association of Professional Women Bankers, Mrs. Abiola Bolarinwa, to lead us in the opening prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. In Jesus' name, Father God, we thank you for this day. This is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and we will be glad in it. We commit all the discussions and deliberations into your ever-capable hands. May all that are on this call participating in the session be enriched and impacted positively now and in the future. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Abiola Bolarinwa from First Bank Nigeria Limited. So once again, you are all welcome. We can kick off with the event this morning. This event is brought to you by the Leadership Subcommittee of the Association of Professional Women Bankers. The leadership pillar is very important to us at the Association of Professional Women Bankers. We are focused on the empowerment and development of women in the financial services industry. Today, we have planned a very exciting webinar for you, and we bring to you a speaker that is of well-known achievements, accomplishments, and experience in the industry. I would like to start by recognizing some of our dignitaries in the room this morning with us before we get into the business of the day. I will start with the introduction of our President and Chairman of the Chartered Institute of Bankers, Professor Pius Deji Olarinwaju. Professor Pius Deji Olarinwaju is a thoroughbred banker, a leader in our industry. He is a professional and a seasoned academic He belongs to many professional bodies, including the CIBN. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you, my sister, for this wonderful program.
Thank you, sir.
Very topical. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. I would also like to recognize the presence of our chair this morning of the APWB, Mrs. Funke Ladimeji. Mrs. Ladimeji is an executive director at an executive director at Coronation Merchant Bank. She's uniquely skilled and experienced in investment banking and has a global career spanning various markets and various sectors in financial markets. You are very welcome this morning, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Goju.
Thank you, ma'am. Good to see you, ma'am. Thank you. Without further ado, I would also like to introduce our speaker for today. We have kept this under wraps because we know that this is someone that would excite all our participants this morning. We thank you for showing up and on time as well. Our speaker today, we have a moderator that will do much more justice to his introduction, but let me just give you a snippet of who he is. We have today presenting to us and speaking to us Mr. Wole Adeniyi. Mr. Wole Adeniyi is the MD CEO of Stanbic IBTC Bank. He leads the bank in digital transformation, corporate banking, and the retail arm as well. And he'll be leading us today in this extremely important topic of the continued relevance in the future of work. I'm sure we've all seen the various digital trends that are coming up, and we're all wondering, how do we continue to be relevant? How do we continue to add value? And that is really the aim of the webinar today. So we're looking very forward to Mr. Wole Adeniyi speaking to us very soon this morning and doing justice to this topic. So please have your pens, papers ready, have your questions ready. It's going to be a very engaging conversation. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our chair, Mrs. Funke Ladimeji, to welcome us this morning and give her opening remarks. Just a little bit more about our very accomplished chair. She's spent 14 years at JP Morgan Chase before she began where I work at FBA Inquest. She was our chief operating officer and a very well-respected professional at that as well. She had global responsibilities at JP Morgan, managing the business across multiple jurisdictions. She has led several mergers and acquisition transactions across JP Morgan, various arms of JP Morgan, and she has organically and inorganically led businesses through integrations, rationalizations, overseeing investment in people, systems, driving collaboration and coherence across various businesses and functions. She is, as I said, the chairman of the Association of Professional Women Bankers, a member of WinBiz, a member of the Amazon Professionals, and she mentors new entrants and incumbents in the financial services industry. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales in economics from the Queen Mary and Brunel universities, respectively. I welcome our chairperson of the APWB, Mrs. Funke Ladimeji. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Goju. So good morning. Let me observe some of the key personnel we have in this meeting today, in this webinar today. So first is the president and the chairman of Council CIBN, Professor Pius Olanrewaju, PhD, FCIB, the CIBN office holders, distinguished council members of CIBN, Registrar CEO of CIBN, the body of past presidents of CIBN, the EXCO of APWB, the body of past chairpersons of the Association of Professional Women Bankers. Our keynote speaker this morning, Mr. Wole Adeniyi, MD CEO of Stanbic IBTC PLC, Bank and Corporate Nigeria executives online who are present with us, and including the men. We have a few men on the line and we welcome you too. Bankers and financial services professionals from across the country, the members of the Association of Professional Women Bankers, members of CIBN, and representatives of our various stakeholders, including our regulators, CBN, NDIC, FMDQ, SEC. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. It is my singular pleasure to be here this morning to host this event. It is one of many of such events to come. And so on behalf of the EXCO of the Association of Professional Women Bankers, I thank you for making the time to join us this morning. We don't take it for granted. I warmly welcome all of you to this event, specially curated by the association, and it's for a specific purpose. But before I go into that purpose, let me do a quick introduction of the association. I'm going to say just a few words about the Association of Professional Women Bankers, especially for the benefit of those who are less familiar with APWB. So the Association of Professional Women Bankers is essentially the female wing of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, the CIBN. And the CIBN is the umbrella body for the banking industry in Nigeria, representing essentially the bankers. And the Association of Women Bankers was set up in 1983 as a result of what the pioneers thought at that time were the unique circumstances of their own times. The founding members of the association, led by Mrs. Maria Shokeno, FCIB, set up the association. And that is just a snippet on the heritage of APWB. So I'm going to move on very quickly because of time. It would have been great to say more. But let's move on. As an association, we have a range of objectives that speak to empowerment, that speak to community, building community, that speak to having a leverageable talent pool, that speak to attracting the next generation into banking, the advantages of a career in banking, that speak to having an independent voice for women in banking and financial services, also that speaks to the development of the next generation of bankers and more, many other objectives. But I always like to summarize all of what we do into three broad objectives. The first one is capacity building and empowering women. And this is to drive female inclusion and female leadership. The second objective is the role of women in building corporate Nigeria, as well as in nation building, essentially talking about the role of women both in the private sector and in the public sector. And the third objective is to recognize and celebrate female achievement. The Association of Women Bankers has a myriad of initiatives to drive and deliver on these three focus areas. And all of those initiatives are designed to meet one or more of those three focus areas. Initiatives such as our mentoring and coaching initiatives with various leaders, right from Mrs. Adeshola of Chairman of EcoBank, Board of EcoBank, retired Major General Lucky Rabo, Mrs. Bimbola Wright, who is also on the board of EcoBank, Mrs. Bukola Smith, Mrs. Funke Amobi, Mr. Yemi Fashion, and many others. And this initiative really cuts across the board. It's at the most senior level, at the middle level, as well as the junior level, including initiatives for students as well and youngsters. And then we have initiatives that focus on thought leadership, where we engage a series of leaders. For example, Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, MD of Sterling Bank, Mrs. Mrs. Ireti Ogbu of Citibank Nigeria, Mrs. Yemisi Edun of FCMB, MD of FCMB, even Miss Evelyn Oputo as well, who is the first female on the board of First Bank, Mrs. Kofo Akikugbe, who is an ex-banker who turned entrepreneur and is really now running a fintech called Secure ID, MD of Secure ID, which is fantastically successful, and many others. We also have our initiatives which are focused on symposia. These are really designed as APWB's platform to drive our contribution to the discourse on topics that relate to our economy and to development of our nation. Topics such as the evolution of leadership in the now of work, which is talking about the discussion and preferring solutions for the ongoing labor market disruptions. Another is a symposium on navigating the challenges and the opportunities for growth in the Nigerian economy, speaking about the various dynamics we see right now, the inflation, volatility in terms of exchange rate, and the many other dynamics, global market uncertainties as well, and how all of this impact the Nigerian economy. So we have symposia that focus on those. We have our thought leadership initiatives where we actually do publications. We had one called the Achieving Gender Equality, which was in Business Day. And then we have a number of partnerships with Standard Chartered Bank, with JP Morgan, with Mekio, with Oriki, with many others, and many other initiatives. So essentially, I summarize it in this manner. APWB is a platform with bankers and financial services professionals across generations: the silent generation, the baby boomers, the Gen Xs, the Gen Zs, the millennials, and then the Gen Zs. So it's a platform. It's a platform that facilitates women in so many ways in terms of contributing to the banking sector, to the financial services industry, a platform that enables women to have broader impact on corporate Nigeria, impact on the next generation, impact lives. It's a platform that easily facilitates building a broader network. I call it building your own personal ecosystem. It's a platform that enables professional women to express themselves in their own areas of interest. I call it your own area of passion, because ultimately it's about touching lives. And so, ladies, to those of you who are not yet members of the Association of Professional Women Bankers, I invite you today, I invite you to click. There's a link in the chat box. Click and join. I am looking forward to welcoming you. So, moving swiftly to the event of today, it is part of what we call our leadership series, which was specifically curated and targeting the most senior women in banking, the AGMs and above, most senior women in not just banking, but banking and financial services, but really AGM and above, or the equivalent, depending on which part of financial services the lady works in. And the leadership series is essentially a recognition of the fact that there are many other requirements for leadership at all levels, and specifically at this level, in terms of markets and economies, the markets and the economies that continue to evolve at a much faster pace than we used to see in the past. It's an appreciation of the depth and breadth of disruptions that we continue to witness across countries, across the workspace, across economies, geopolitically, technologically, even disruptions in terms of the modes of work, in terms of work culture, in terms of many, many other dynamics we are seeing. It is an appreciation, the leadership series is an appreciation of the higher levels of complexity and uncertainty, which are essentially the backdrop for leadership operation of today. And the expectation, by the way, is that leaders continue to operate optimally despite all of these changes. And so, of course, many ladies, which when I have conversations with them, they say, well, how? Given everything that is going on, given that everything appears to be in a state of flux, how? And so the leadership series is a recognition of these factors. And we have curated this leadership series and the initiatives that address this new and evolving dynamics of the world and the implications for leadership today. However, for this event today, despite the fact that our leadership series generally is for more senior women, the event of today has been opened up to women across all levels of banking and other financial services. And one of the reasons for this is our keynote speaker, his passion for this topic, the relevance of this topic to all professionals. Our keynote speaker is a seasoned financial services professional, an exceptional banker who has kept apace with the evolution and the many dynamics that I earlier mentioned, and all of which we are all witnessing at the moment. He's well known for his depth and breadth of knowledge on our topic, and he will be sharing with us today on what and how to position in the context of today's world, positioning for the organization, positioning for the individual, and more. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a wonderful time of learning this evening or this morning, a wonderful learning experience. And I encourage you to sit back and take your notebook, whether it's physical, whether it's digital. Please have a notebook. There'll be lots of notes to be taken. I encourage you, enjoy this next hour or so with us. I call it the Power Hour with APWB. Thank you, and God bless you. I now hand over back to the moderator, sorry, to our anchor, Bonjour.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our moderator for today, who will handle the conversation with our keynote speaker, Mr. Wole Adeniyi. Our moderator today is Mutumayo Ajayi. Mutumayo is a transformational HR professional with vast multidisciplinary knowledge and years of productive experience. She's currently in employment at Sterling Bank PLC, and she's responsible for collaboratively implementing future-focused and sustainable digital work processes, products, and platforms. Mutumayo holds an MSc with distinction in Human Resource Management from the University of Wales in the UK and a BSc in Biochemistry from Olabisi Onabanjo University in Nigeria. She is certified in Digital Business Transformation Management and also Prince 2 methodologies and change management. I can't think of anybody better to moderate such a conversation as what we're having today. Mutumayo, you are welcome. Please take the floor.
Sorry, can I just interrupt for a second? There's meant to have been remarks from the PCC, the president and chairman of council of CIBN, before the moderator kicks off.
You are absolutely correct, ma'am. My error. My apologies, everyone. I would like to introduce the president chairman of the CIBN, Professor Pius Deji Olarewaju, to give us his opening remarks this morning, please.
Thank you, our esteemed audience. Let me start the protocol by recognizing my very first VP in person of Mr. Dele Alabi, which I believe should be on this call, either virtually, as the case may be. And let me also seize the opportunity to recognize my second vice president in person of Mrs. Mojisola Aseru, Bakari Aseru, who is also a member of this association, a notable member of this association. They also recognize the national treasurer in person of Dr. Peter Ashade, FCIB, and our iconic registrar and CEO of CIBN, Mr. Akimorakio, our highly revered past presidents, both men and women, who are the progenitor of this institute, who might be on the line. You are highly recognized. I also want to recognize the members of the council, the newly inaugurated council, who are on this call, and also to recognize especially for the wonderful work he has been doing since he has been at the helm of affairs of this great association. That's our leader, chairman, that's Mrs. Funke, Feyisheton, Ladimeji. Thank you for what you are doing. And also let me see the opportunity to also recognize the other ESCO members of the APWB that we are very proud of what you are doing, because you are contributing your quota meaningfully towards the development of the banking education in Nigeria and professionalism in Nigeria too. And also I heard that the keynote speaker will be our friend and our brother, Mr. Wole Adeniyi, an erudite professional too. We want to welcome you, for this great assignment. And also, let me recognize the moderator too, Mrs. Mutumayo Ajayi, for the good work you have been doing and what you are going to do today. All special guests here present, fellows, associates, honorary senior members, microfinance certified bankers, and all other categories of membership of CIBN, you are highly recognized. The management and staff of CIBN that are present, that are on the call, you will recognize you for what you are doing. Esteemed audience joining, on the virtual platform, you are all recognized. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a great delight once again, because the women are really, coming first in everything. It will be on record that this will be the very first official program, that we'll be having under this legacy tenure. And like I said before, I want to congratulate our chairperson and his ESCO for thinking, ahead of time. It is often been said that the vision belongs to those people who can see, those people who can see, opportunity before they manifest. And I thank God that you are coming with this very topical, topic, continue relevant in the future of work. You are thinking about the future of the work, and it's very, very important. And as a leader, we must be thinking about the future, because we must be thinking, about the future concerning ourselves. We must be thinking about the future concerning those people who want to live, the legacy of excellence and professionalism on. And that's why the attempt being made by the APW is a very credible one. And I want to thank you immensely for this. We all know that leadership is very key in everything we do, because it's the leader, a good leader that inspires, that makes other people to dream dreams, that makes them to learn more, that makes them to become even more than what they actually even want to become. So a transformational leader is needed. And when we look at the problem within our geopolitical zone globally, we will realize that the problem we have in Africa is that it can be summarized in bad leadership. And that is why we should be able to carve a niche for ourselves. For those of us who are in the financial sector, to try as much as possible to set good example. And we have been doing that over the years. The women have been doing great exploits. The CIBN itself has been doing great exploits. In the area we conduct ourselves, in the way we conduct our election, all these things are verification. So there's a verification of what a good leader should be. So I want to thank you for organizing this webinar, and also just to mention again, by reiterating the fact that there are certain qualities, anybody who wants to belong to that cadre of the future, who is thinking about the future, who wants to be relevant in the future, he must have some of these qualities that I'm going to mention. There are so many, plethora of them, that I just mentioned about 7. He must have sound communication skills. He must be innovative. There's no two ways about it, because the world is not waiting for anybody. Such a person must be resilient. You know that there are challenges, but I can tell you that even in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. And he must be somebody who can do that can prepare for the future. Then there must be a good leader must also, involve being adaptable to changes, because changes, the only thing that is permanent is change. And he must be able to adapt to those changes as they unfold. He must be able to exhibit emotional intelligence, because now everybody, a lot of knowledge, we are in the knowledge economy. So you can, a middle person or a fairly average person cannot lead successfully again. Everybody has information at his own disposal. So whoever wants to do that must be highly principled and knows what he's doing. Also, accountability is also very key, because we talk about issue of ethics and professionalism even in our field. And integrity, all these things cannot be being said. Continuous learning. I think Toffler has made this very explicit, that the future belongs to those the illiterate of the 21st century. Is not going to be somebody who cannot read and write, but somebody who cannot learn, learn and unlearn. So I thank the association for recognizing this, and more importantly, also its flexibility. We are in an arena, we are in a global scene that things are changing nearly every time. For you to be able to belong to the future, you have to be flexible, and not rigid. So on this note, it's going to be a wonderful session, because you have a keynote a speaker that is well reputed, in the industry, who has contributed immensely towards the financial service delivery in Nigeria. And the panelists too, I know that they are eminent, and they will be able to contribute meaningfully to this thing. Once again, I just want to thank the association, of professional women, in bankers, for what they are doing, and setting a pace, and even challenging us. And the way, if they sustain this in the very near future, you see them, occupying all the major areas within the industry. Once again, I want to thank the chairman and the ESCO for organizing this, for thinking about the future. Because, like I said, the future belongs to those people who can see the opportunity now before it manifests. I wish you a very successful outing. God bless you all.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir, for your opening remarks. Very spot on and perfect preamble into our conversation today. So I would like to reintroduce and call on Ms. Muturayo Ajayi She's the group head and head of human capital projects at Sterling Bank PLC, and she's our moderator for today. Victoria, the floor is yours. You're welcome.
Thank you, Bonjour. Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. It's a pleasure to be in your midst this morning. I want to start by saying a big thank you for this opportunity to the leadership of the APWB team. Thank you for creating this podium and, allowing women to thrive in these trying times. You would agree with me that the future of work is a trending topic, as its relevance in today's world cannot be overemphasized. And we are going to be delving, into this topic today. Our topic today is continued relevance in the future of work. And today we have a keynote speaker. I will be introducing him shortly. But before we go into that, I wanted to ride on everything that has been said so far. There are a lot of disruptions in these trying times. Today's business environment is inundated with unprecedented change and opportunity. Technology is everywhere. Ways of working are changing. We have tsunami of data, power of big data and analytics to unlock customer insights and for us to remain competitive. We have the cybersecurity issues. We have cyber physical world, automation of jobs. We have change in nature of career across board, continuous upskilling and shifting in career. We have explosion in the contingent work based on the distribution of talent that are out there. We also have the diversity and generational change. I mean, these are disruptors that we deal with on the day-to-day. And the leadership of our financial institutions have to come up with strategies and put methodologies in place to tackle these disruptors. And this is going to be forming the basis of our conversation this morning as we delve into the future of work. And doing justice to this topic is our keynote speaker for today. His name is Mr. Wole Adeniyi. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Stanbic IBTC Bank, and he is responsible for driving the institution's strategy across technology, digital transformation, corporate and investment banking, retail banking, and what have you. Before assuming this role as the CEO, he was also the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the bank, responsible for repositioning the retail banking arm for the new phase of digitization and leading the move to enhance the endless possibility in the digital space, creating and ensuring appropriate governance in the retail businesses, as well as strong alignment with the group strategy. Prior to then, he was also the executive director across various functions within the bank, spanning from personal and business banking to retail and commercial banking to operations and also group real estate services and procurement, transforming all these businesses across board. Wole has wealth of banking experience spanning across 3 decades in technology and digital transformation. And today, he will be sharing that wealth of knowledge with us. He's an exceptional executive management resource with a track record of achieving results. He is credited with playing a critical role in formulating and deploying strategies to help turn around Stanbic Bank Nigeria's operations and technology with the team Rapid Redesign and repositioned it for growth and excellence. He also sits on the board of NIB, that's the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System. He holds a first-class degree in business administration from the University of Benin and an MBA in business administration from the University of Manchester. He is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and a certified information system auditor. You would agree with me that he's the best man for the job, and he is our keynote speaker. Please, with a virtual clap, join me in welcoming Mr. Wole Adeniyi. to the podium. He will be sharing a short presentation to form the basis for our conversation today. And I look forward to the exciting conversation that we are going to be having. Before we delve in, please drop your questions in the chat room. Feel free to use the chat room. We'll try as much as possible to ensure that we address all the questions that we have on the chat room. You're welcome, Mr. Wole Adeniyi.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's noon where I am now. It's like 20 minutes to 2 o'clock. I bring you greetings from the Strait of Hormuz. I'll leave you to decode where that is from. There's a place they call the Strait of Hormuz. That's where I'm calling from this morning in Nigeria, but it's afternoon here. It's about 2 o'clock. I'd like to rest on existing protocols, but with due honor to the President and Chairman of the Council, the Vice President, the first Vice President, the second Vice President, the Registrar, the member of the CIBN Executive and Council, and most importantly to the Association of Professional Women Bankers led by Funke and their executive, and for all the job you are doing. I would like to say thank you, and it's really a great pleasure for me to be here this afternoon, or morning as the case may be in Nigeria. Pardon my time difference. So we were supposed to do this for 1 hour, and I think we already done about 40 minutes. And some of the things from the speech, from the anchor to the president to, I think I actually maybe just share some thoughts again, because the president and chairman of council actually highlighted some of those topical things when it comes to the continued relevance and the future of work. But I'm going to share with you, in the best practice, what you do is you provide context, and then after that, we can come into some conversation. And there's a saying that counsel is like a deep water, and then you take wisdom to draw them out. I think there are a lot of deep thinking that we can share this morning on this topic. I also recognize all the women that are on the call, and even the men, like the president, the chairman of APWB has said that it's across now the segment, not the AGM and above. And I think, to me, it's the biggest opportunity when you share learnings or when you share ideas is that you also learn from that. And I think even this morning, I'm not just going to be giving some insight, I'm also going to learn myself. I have about a few slides, and I will just say, if you can see my slide, just give me a thumbs up. Yeah. So when I look at this topic, and it is a lot of volume of work. In fact, really, if you want to find out about the future of work, the easiest thing you can do is to go to ChatGPT, right? And just ask ChatGPT, what is the future of work? How can I be relevant to the future of work? And I think you get the best answer that nobody can give you, because artificial intelligence, what artificial intelligence does, basically, those cognitive actions that is only available to human beings before, they're not able to think it, feel, reason, create, they can do virtually. What we're actually having a discourse on now, we can turn it into a movie. Everything that has been said all since beginning, if we have recorded this, we can do a movie, and it can be a series, and it will be done in a jiffy, and we can actually sell it as a blockbuster. So that's what artificial intelligence does for you. And that is the future of not work, but the future of life is artificial intelligence. And so when I look at this, I went into what they call a virtual reality. And that's why you see the virtual reality goggle. And when I look into the virtual reality, and now I didn't use ChatGPT, I used virtual reality, just exactly you see on the screen. So what I saw was dense. And I said, so it's like you got an inspiration in a dream, and then you saw the 4 words, DENS. And he said, that's the future of work. I've seen literatures, I've seen conversation on the future of work, but that's what the virtual reality gave. Virtual reality maybe went beyond what an artificial intelligence will give me to tell me this is the future, because what virtual reality does, it can imagine into 1,000 years from now. And so when you look at 1,000 years from now, how can, what's the future of work 500 years, 1,000 years, 200 years from now? It came up with dense. Then I asked the virtual reality, what do you mean by D? And this is what I got. This was provided by the virtual reality engine by itself. And he said, Wale, take a view back 20 years ago, and you can go back to first industrial revolution. And you see on my right side, you see those companies that actually existed 20 years ago, and they were the world beaters. Those are the most capitalized company in the world. Only one of them had a play 20 years after. And the one of them that had that play 20 years after has something to do with digital, and that's Microsoft. All the rest, even the banks that were there, they 20 years after, they are not in existence. The only non-tech company in 2023 is Aramco of Saudi Arabia. And you cannot, and before, when you look at it there, you see the mobile, the shell of this world, even if you go back some years. But when you now go back to now, you see the only person is Microsoft that has retained because of digital capability. When you look at Saudi Aramco, the only reason why they are there as the most valuable company in the world as well is because they have state resources that empower them. Today, the biggest bank in the world is a Chinese bank because they use state resources. So when you use state resources to drive a corporation, so if you use all Nigeria GDP to drive a corporation, that company will be one of the most valuable company in the world, just like NNPC will ultimately become when they do their listing and they do their public offer. So what happened is that that's an anomaly. So every other company there, it's a tech company. Every other. So if I go into the upper quadrant in my left and I move those 2023 into upper quadrant and I say, go into, another 50 years, go into another 100 years, you will see those companies that are digital in nature, they are digital native, they are using technology, using artificial intelligence will be the one that will be on the left quadrant. So the D there is digital. So what is the future of work? It's about digital. There's nothing more than that. It's artificial intelligence is going to stay and it's going to change everything. So, and there are 4 Ds of digital. The first one, and in a simple sense for everybody, you can be digital in everything you do from today. 1, you dematerialize, you democratize what you're doing, you digitize it, and you create disruption, and then you can defend. And so the 5th D help you to be relevant into the future. People call it resilience. You become, and when is the organization? Your organization become resilient to the future. And that's what D will do for you. The next one that I saw from that virtual reality into the future is evolve. Digitize and evolve, or digital and evolve. And again, and you can change that E to A. It's adaptable. So if somebody asks me a question, people will ask questions, what are the skills I need for the future? What are the relevant skills for the future? The relevant skills for the future, the most relevant skill for the future, the prof, the chairman and president of council call it flexibility, he call it adaptability. You have to be adaptable. And there's no better person that demonstrates this today on this call than even a Motunrayo. Motunrayo started as a biochemist, right? Then she went to Wales and she had a master's with distinction in human resources. She has digital skills and she has Prince 2 from being a biochemist. So you evolve, and there are areas of involvement. They asked Jack Welch 20 years ago in Harvard. He said, what is the future? How do you see it? So they were asking him in Harvard, 20 years ago, what should my kids study in school? He said, study biotechnology, study Mandarin, and I think something on artificial intelligence, where it was not even now pronounced, whatever it was called then. So he spoke about 3 things, but the one I remember vividly, he said, biotechnology and Mandarin. Why Mandarin? And I put it here, that part of evolving. The most spoken language today in the world is English language. Then after that, it's Mandarin. The only nation that could have competed with them if they speak their native language 100% is India. But in India, they have their other native languages, but they speak English significantly. That's why they dominate also the world. So the areas of involvement, there are many. I just put these ones here. Whether it's data science, whether it's cybersecurity, whether it's, I could also put there sustainability, ESG, big area. You know, there's not a provision on or IFRS on sustainability in terms of what you are going to do. So evolve.
Humans have come so far, and to think it all started with me. Hang on, is she serious right now? Just so we're all clear, civilization wouldn't even exist without me. For the last time, Fire, you were harnessed, not invented. You're not even in this club. Look, we all have our place in human history, from the jaunty little trinkets to the catalyst of the Industrial Revolution who facilitated the global trade of goods. And I'll take the spread of ideas over the spread of goods any day, but you do you. I mean, if we're talking about who's most responsible for the spread of ideas. Hey, just remember, some of yous would have still been science fiction without us material guys, eh? That's a good point. Hello, world. Hi. Can I have a seat at your table? Will you be a net good for humanity? Of course.
D, evolve, digital, evolve. N there is niche. You must, no matter what you do, you have to create a niche for yourself, and that's give you relevance into the future. At any point in time, you must be known to have a particular skills that you're unique at that can position you to be continually relevant. I call it the power of focus. So what you see when you create a niche is that you create a niche for yourself. I used one expression. There was a dinner. One of the biggest chief executives in the world was invited. One of the people at that, and when they invite people to that, and you know, most of the biggest decisions in the world are made at dinner table. So there were other people in the room. They were running around. And then this guy started talking, sharing his experience. You know, what you cannot find in the bookstore, what he cannot even remember to put down in a book, he was sharing it on the table. But there were a lot of people that were, you know, doing a lot of things in order to get his attention, get his presence. But there was this particular woman. She just stayed glued to this guy, and he was taking down everything he was saying. He had a phone and was taking it. Then the man, so the other people were saying, why don't you stop for us? Let us finish doing the serving, then you can talk to all of us. So he now said, so sorry, this lady has chosen what's most important. I'm not interested in all the glamour of what you guys are doing. I'm here to share my thoughts. Create a niche for yourself, and you continually be relevant. And if I want to ask you to read a book, and that book is by Jack Canfield. You can go and find it. It's an old book. Jack Canfield. It's called The Power of Focus. I would say I read the book at the earliest point in my career, and it changed the dynamics of my focus in life. I have a mentor as well. We invited the mentor to a session like this, and he came to that session, a mentoring session, with a copy of that book. Then I saw that there was some power in that book, but the summary of that was the fact that it was focused. Ladies and gents, create a niche for yourself. If you create a niche for yourself, it will always make you to be relevant. Because as you create that niche and as everything evolves, you will replenish that niche and it will make it to be relevant. So to be relevant to the future of work is about creating a niche. The last one is social capital. Social capital. So a futurist. So you have to be a futurist. A futurist. And the futurist told us three things, and we cannot forget. It's a mantra in my organization, because when we encounter the future, he said those things. He said, for the future of work, for the future to be relevant, you need three things: trust, collective intelligence, and social capital. Trust is necessary, is the foundation and bedrock of the future. The second one is collective intelligence. What we are doing today is collective intelligence. And that's why, you know, we have the president and chairman of council, all over 100 and so people here. And this thing will ultimately, if you are recording it, it will go viral, it will be shared. So that's collective intelligence. And then social capital. What you see on the screen as social capital is network. you know that your network will determine your net worth. You know, this morning where I am, I preach in a church and I talk to them about the right side. And I told them, your connection determine your collection. Your connection determine your collection. Your location determine your allocation. Right. So your social network, your network will make you to be relevant in the future of work. I'm going to stop here. And I asked the artificial intelligence that, how do you connect what you told me at the beginning of virtual reality? What you told me at the beginning on DENS. He said to be continually, so you now change it at the end. And that's why you see, if you meet needs, if you meet needs, you will continue to be relevant in the future of work. I'll give you a final scenario. There has been some disruption. You know, there are a lot of talk about some multinational exiting Nigeria, what's happening, and there are a lot of discourse. Why some are right in terms of some of the challenges they've seen. But what has happened is that the operating model has changed. And the operating model has changed where, based on people are able to meet needs, there are some operating model that, why is this iPhone produced in China? Why is it not produced in the US? If you produce this iPhone in China, most people will not be able to afford it. But this iPhone is produced in China because of cost of production. Why? They have an operating model that's helped them to democratize production costs. How can you compete with that? It's almost impossible. So if you meet needs, you will continue to be relevant in the future of work. Thank you. And we can have a discourse. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that just provides a perfect background to this conversation. If you meet needs, you will continue to remain relevant in the future of work. Amazing. And what is needs? Recall, create a niche for yourself, evolve, be digital, and maintain your social capital. Thank you so much, sir, for that, for sharing that. Let's delve deeper as we go into this conversation, because we need to bring it home, right? And I mean, you said a lot so far. And I wanted us to start this conversation by you sharing some of your success stories around how you have led your organization to maintain relevance in the financial services space. Because we know that, you know, the banks are the most regulatory, they are the most ones that are highly regulated. There's banks, the financial services companies are mostly regulated by CBN, and then we also have to maintain that decorum in the trying times, in the changing times. So how do you maintain relevance within your own organization? How do you lead your organization to maintain relevance in the financial services space? If you can share some of your success stories with us, sir.
Okay, thank you. And just call me Wale, no, sir. So, and I will talk of financial services, and basically that's what you see virtually someone is trying to do. And it's based on collective intelligence. Personally, I'm a part of a collective system that enable us to deliver, continue to meet needs, to add value. And so as long as you continue to add value, you continue to be relevant. And when you continue to give an organization that continue to deliver sustainable value, then they'll continue to be relevant in the future. A bank is a platform. The word bank, right, is from the word bench. From a Latin perspective, maybe Professor, our ex-president and chairman of council, we have done some research on it, they'll tell you. But a bank is a bench. And the word bench, a bank derived from the marketplace, where you go to the market, they place a bench, right? And when they put a bench on, then people will put their goods on those bench and then they trade. So what is the platform? A bank is a platform where, you know, where interactions occur. And now that's why people say banking is what you do. You don't go to a bank, right? And to be continually relevant, what you do is to make sure that that platform is stable, is consistent, is adaptable, and you cannot add. So when you go to a market and there's a bench, and that bench is stable, is sturdy, is consistent, what happens? People can put different things and display it on it. If it's not stable, the leg is not strong, then things fall over, and you cannot put things on it. So what you've seen in the financial services industry is that by ability to provide a stable platform, and it could be stable platform of services, stable platform of technology, stable platform of product and services, and you continue to build on it. For us, in my own Stanbic IBTC, if I use that example, is that we are continually created a platform, and we are continually putting things on the table. Products, services, driving customer value proposition and experience. And also the greatest player in that platform is the people, and giving those people an enriching experience. Then you're unstoppable as an institution. And so that's my own journey in doing this. And one of the biggest things I did was to actually lead a team that provided that platform to be sturdy and stable.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Wale, for that. I mean, you have said it all. We have to provide a platform that is sturdy and stable. And then the people side of things is also critical. Our people have to, evolve. They have to transform themselves. They have to adopt the new way of work and the new skill sets that are out there that will make them thrive in the future. You would also agree with me that the future of work, would be further explained in 3 dimensions. And that is speaking to the workplace, the work itself, right? In terms of the technologies that we are using to carry out services and the new way of work. The workforce, what can we do to get talent, that are out there that can actually do the work? You have said it that you have to evolve in your skill set. How do we identify this talent? And then moving further down to the workplace, how far can we extend the boundaries of the physical workspace, especially as it relates to the future of work? All these dynamics, how do we maintain it and also continue to remain relevant? If you can just help us, delve into this and then tell us how we can maintain relevance across these 3 dimensions of the work, the workforce, and the workplace.
Exciting. And, people talk of talent mobility. So just the same way we talk digital transformation, we have to talk of talent transformation. So people talk talent mobility, people are moving, Jackpot syndrome, I think what we should be thinking of is talent transformation, where you have talent transformation, where everybody, a team, right, that everybody can do what everybody does, will be unbeatable. Right, because they've transformed their talent. So rather than organization focus, and that is where learning, continue evolving and adaptability comes in. Can you train everybody in the organization to be binary in thinking? And that's it. There's actually a book that's talking about, for people that are not binary, how you can help them to become binary. Binary means in terms of being digitally oriented, right? So if you don't do talent transformation, talent mobility cannot sustain the future because people will continually be mobile, right? But when you transform your talents, in just like digital transformation, what happened is that things from digitization, right? We are turning everything from manual basic things to an automated thing right now. And then that means a lot of things can be done. So if you don't do that for our talent, then we actually won't get, because the talent mobility will come. And there's a school of thought about remote work, the workplace and everything. Now, a very good topic and debates. And I'll tell you, and I use case studies when I have this conversation with people. Where is the most efficient market in the world today? China. Why? But do they have remote work in China? No. They created an average Chinese company, right? And some of the things that, some of the interplay that happen between the West and China is that the West is trying to slow down China. Why? Because they cannot cope with the efficiency level of China. The West has not done 5G. China is at 7G. Now, the West is doing remote work. China is providing a workplace of the future for their staff. Go and check all the Chinese companies, even in Nigeria. If you, after the redemption camp on the express, go and check from the redemption camp. On your right and on your left, they are all Chinese companies. They provide 24-hour power. They provide accommodation on premise. You see 500, I've driven into about 3 kilometers from the express, 3 kilometers into the express to a Chinese factory. It has like a 200 bed, AC, everything fully there, right? The people, they do shifts, they do the work. When they are off shift, they go home, right? One of the best company in the world today is Huawei. They provide in their office. You get there by 7 o'clock. They have a chef on ground, right? The chef provides breakfast, they provide lunch, and they do dinner. They work on premise, then they have time to snooze, right? So why it is easy to say I will do remote work, but what does it do for productivity? Now, so if you look at it, go to Japan, go to India, go to South Korea. So there's a transition between the West and the so why West for legacy of prosperity and everything? If you go to all the Fortune 500 companies in the US, 90% of them are headed by Indians. Just name it. Look at all the companies that we put on the go and check them. All of them, most of them headed by Indians. Why? Because of the legacy of execution of hard work that they've created. So while remote work is capable, I would say that you make remote work 100% if you have the digital capability to make sure that you are getting the level of efficiency you can get. So the future of work is that do talent transformation and make everybody, it's like in a football team, you make everybody a Ronaldo or Messi that can play any role. Then also provide a workplace of the future where everything that, and I will say proudly, Stanbic IBTC has done that. It's only one area that we've been done that. So from when you come into when you close, it's a workplace of the future. When you provide that environment, then you can thrive as an institution and as an individual.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You've heard it all. I'm sure we have a lot of leaders on this call, and these are practical steps that you can quickly adopt in your workplace to continue to ensure that you maintain that relevance of the future of work. And since we are talking about the people, because everything that we have said now is about the people, the talent transformation, ensuring that we train our people to be binary thinkers. Can we now further delve down into the culture? I mean, we are in Africa, for instance, because you've said several examples, and those examples are outside, Africa, African continent. Let's bring it further on. If we talk about our culture, how do we continue to enhance this technology? How do we continue to encourage our people to adopt this new way of work?
It is so if you relate it to culture is belief, ideas, rules, and conduct in an organization or society. That's culture. They said culture will eat your strategy for breakfast, right? And so culture becomes the domineering factor that drives the whole enterprise. And the success of any organization cannot be divorced from the culture. So how you have a winning culture. Actually, there's an authority on culture. His name is, I met him when I did my program at the Harvard Business School. He said that a winning culture is a culture that set the stage for positive attitudes, high expectation, and successful performance. That's Professor Krishna Palepu. He said a winning team wants to win prizes, win and give all to win their game. So a culture is all those positive attitudes. You know, in my organization, you can almost breed the culture of, you know, upholding the highest level of integrity, culture of constantly raising the bar. I can tell you one of the culture, if you look at this slide for this presentation at the original stage and what I have now is heaven and earth, day and night. But the team that put it together, working with me, knows that we have to constantly raise the bar. So if I make this presentation a month from now, it's going to be different because we have to raise the bar again. There'll be other things that you have never. So culture is creating those positive attitude, high expectations, and successful performance in the team. And when people have those positive attitude, then when you talk of talent transformation, it's very easy for them to imbibe. So culture is all those positive attitude that you inculcate in the people that will lead to a successful outcome of the. So it's a winning thing. Culture makes you a winner. Culture is what makes your strategy a winner if people imbibe it.
All right, thank you. It's getting more and more interesting, I must say. I mean, with culture, you have to create positive attitude and you have to create a winning team. Thank you so much for that. Let's quickly further delve into our regulators because we can't do anything within financial services without our regulators. What impact do you foresee from regulatory changes on the future of banking in Nigeria? How can our leaders proactively address these challenges?
So regulatory changes, the bank or financial industry is the most regulated in the world.
Yes.
Right? And I'll go back to nets or dens, as the case may be. When you are operating at the future of work, based on your data capability, based on organization that evolve, based on your focus, and based on those collective intelligence, and you won't have a problem with the regulator. And again, you can take it back to culture. So there's a culture of resilience that you must build, of culture of agility. And what is resilience and agility? The word is VUCA as they may be. I think if there's another word that is more than VUCA, you can say the word is it is. The complexity of changes, the rate of changes, and we know in the last 1 year in the banking industry, the rate of changes is just massive. I think there was a circular about the trade portal that came out, I think on Friday or Thursday. So but when your organization is resilient, ability to look at the future from a digital perspective, if there's what called the digital, there's a word now from a digital regulatory perspective. It's going to change. What today that the regulators are focusing on, in another 5 or 10 years, will not be relevant again because artificial intelligence will totally take everything away. In fact, with artificial intelligence, when you lie to the regulator, when you do anything, they will actually know. That artificial intelligence has the capability to do that. Today, it's just like a student when you have research thesis. If you go to ChatGPT and you copy your text, it will pick it up and know that this one, you actually copy this thing. Why? Because just imagine the tons of knowledge of papers in the world on the internet, and you go and copy a text and you submit it to your professor, and it will use another tool to tell you that basically you have cheated and you can actually be penalized. So, but what will the best student do? There is a body of knowledge that is original that they can use. So that's the same thing we have to do with regulator. Regulator, everything is going to change dynamically, but when you are resilient, you follow your strategy, you have the right culture, you have the right values, you can be, regulatory changes and the dynamics of it, you continually be relevant, and there will be no cause for any challenge. So it is those, being ready for the future, being future driven, being ready for the future of work that actually, you talk about organizations that are futurist. You talk about an organization that is future ready. That's basically the organization that will adapt to changing regulations.
Thank you. I hope the leaders in the room are taking notes, because I mean this is amazing, and this nugget, you can't get it from anywhere else. So I hope we're taking notes of all the points that we can quickly implement to continue to ensure that we're relevant in the future of work. I would like for you to further speak to our leaders in the house right now. With the influx of Gen Zs in the workplace, and then, taking over in terms of the way they want the work to get done, their models of thinking is completely different from our millennials and baby boomers that are at that leadership position. What do you advise for our leaders to do to inculcate these Gen Zs and adopt some of their initiatives and models in the future? Because they are the future of work, right? How do we ensure that our leaders are carried along? Is there a role in reverse mentoring, for instance? If you can just help us shed a bit more light in that.
So the most important skill for the future is adaptability skill. Everyone has to be adaptable. So reverse mentoring, it's true. I can give you a particular example. We have board members who are close to 60, 65, 70, and they went to the, I think, MIT Harvard Business School to do a program on digital transformation. All of them scored exceptionally very well. You are talking of people in their 70s, you are talking of people in their 60s, in their 65, all of them without fail. One of them, actually a woman, a lawyer, scored the highest. There was some digital stuff with a stock exchange or something. She got the highest as well. So what I mean is that we talk of talent transformation, you can superimpose it on it as well. Everyone has to be adaptable. So I don't think there's any competition in between Gen Z and the baby boomers or Gen Y, whatever you want to call them. But because anyone that is ready to be transformed digitally, and I said the basics of, and what are the Gen Z saying? Digitize. And what do you mean by digitize? Dematerialize. Today, I have not used a checkbook in the last 15 years, but I've kept on doing my financial transaction. So it's not a Gen Z thing. From 15 years ago, I've stopped using checkbook because I believe that the future of a bank is something you do, it's not a place that you go. Right. If not for some exceptional things that happen, I wouldn't visit a branch of a bank to do anything. Let me give you this example. I was in Citibank, and this is 1997, right? 1997, I was on a global executive management associate program, and we had two guys. One went to, I think, Cornell, and I think the other one went to Yale, and they joined us in Nigeria, and we took them for dinner. And when we took them for dinner, this is 1997. Just imagine 1997, 1998. We took them for dinner, and we took a bundle of cash like this to pay in the restaurant. And they told me that is the largest amount of cash they've seen in their life. That even as at then, everything was done digitally. Now, so compare that, maybe they use their card, definitely. Or maybe they will do, I don't know whether they will be able to do a transfer. But then it was already in operation. So how we adapt to this evolving thing is just everybody has to embrace it. Talent migration, talent transformation is what is important. So there's no dichotomy between the Gen Z, for me, because everybody is able to adapt. In fact, any Gen Z today on digital skills will compete for the capability in anything, as long as you continue to remain binary in your mind. If you remain binary in your mind, then there's nothing you cannot do. Just ensure that you first do the basic. There are five Ds of digitization: dematerialize, democratize, digitize, disrupt, and defend. Then you continually be relevant. Thank you.
They have heard it, and I'm sure they are promising to adopt and be adaptable as we, move further in maintaining relevance in the future of work. Thank you so much for, sharing your wealth of experience with us today. I think we'll be wrapping up this segment now so that we can take questions from the room. There's been a lot of conversations happening in the chat room so far. Everybody is excited. There's a lot of thank you messages for you, sharing your wealth of knowledge. Some of the nuggets that you've been sharing, people are reposting. So, the value of this program cannot be overemphasized. Thank you so much. For us to wrap up this segment, if you want to quickly share with us, like a summarized view of the key things that you want us to take away from this session for us to go back to our respective organizations and, start doing the work. If you can just quickly share that with us before we go into the main Q&A session.
Read a book.
Okay, read a book.
There's so much knowledge. So the Professor Pius Olanrewaju, the president and chairman of council, said it's the knowledge economy. Read a book. I don't do digital. I did digital book, but I was given this, so I don't have a choice. So on my trip, I took it along and read it. Digitize your mind. Digitize your mind. Evolve in your capability. Create a niche for yourself. One thing, there's that book that says there's one thing that is needful. When you have it, nobody can take it away from you. What do you have? What do you bring to the table? You don't sell a product, you sell value to customer. So what value? That value that you have is your niche. Keep your network. Your network determines your net worth. It's your social capital. Your connection determines your collection. You must do it. So, but read a book and do those nets. And truly, there's a saying by, when I was in school, I was in student union, and I used to quote a lot of, one of my favorite quotes was by Frantz Fanon. He said that everybody is actually, you're either a winner or a loser, right? But there is no one who has taken possession of their purpose that cannot be at the top. Don't ever aim to be second. Always aim to be first. There's no place for second in the world. They call them first losers. So always aim to be the best. And that's about creating niche. Always aim to be the best. You create a niche for yourself. The second person is called first loser. So aim to be the best in everything that you do. And if you do that, all of us together, there's no crowding at the top. A leader is a ladder. There's no crowding at the top. The more you go, the more space. That's why you see birds, they fly without having collision, right? Because all of them, they are more space. When we are all on the ground, we trample against each other. But when you aim high and you get to the top, there's more space for everybody to express themselves. So that's what I will leave for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Amazing, amazing session. And if you go to the chat room, there's so much excitement. Honestly, it's been a wonderful session. Thank you so much. As we, progress in this conversation. Okay, Bonju, we have questions, right, from the audience?
Yes, yes. Mutara, well done. And thank you so much, Wale, for your nuggets. Honestly, amazing. We've been scrambling, writing notes here in the chat, sharing notes where we can. My notebook is packed with so many nuggets from what you shared. And I think your summary was actually perfect. I'm actually now scoring myself, on the neds. If everything is 25%, where am I and what do I need to work on? So been a very, very engaging session. I want to encourage everyone. The chat room is really buzzing. Please continue to drop your questions. One of the ones that we've received, Wally, that I would like you to touch on is someone has asked for more clarity on the aspect of binary conversion. And then I will hand back over to Victoria to handle the Q&A. So please, everybody, drop your chats, drop your questions, your comments. We are now moving into the Q&A session, which Mutaya is going to handle for us. And the first question, which might be lost now, so I'm just bringing it to the top, is the aspect of binary conversion. Can you please just shed more light on that? But thank you so much. This has been really, really fantastic. Mutaya, back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so when I talk of binary, it's just making your mind to think in a digital form. And that means you are not limited by by being flexible with numbers, with digital things. And I'll give you and what the world, who taught the world to be binary in mind? It's Apple. Apple. If you give a child an iPad without teaching them, a 2-year-old, it's been proven, and most of us here with kids will tell you, they'll take that iPad and they will start using it without you. If you don't lock it, they will, and the things they will bring out, you yourself don't know. Who taught them how to do it? Because the child is binary in mind. So the child, when you give a something else to the child, they will put it in their mouth. If you give them a book, they'll put it in their mouth. But if you give them an iPad, they will open it and start doing something about it. The child is binary in mind. They call them digital natives, right? So that's it. So basically, they are binary in their mind. They see things, they see an object. They can identify with that object, that this object is something digital. This object is something new. This object is something different. And if you do that in the workplace as well, it will create that opportunity for you. So if I'm doing the work, and that work is manual in nature, if I'm binary in mind, I will ultimately shift to, I'll give you this example. I've given it many times before. When I started banking, I started my banking, so using real life example, I started banking in Lead Merchant Bank. After my service, I work with them. And I only worked there 3.5 months. Now I'm talking of 1992, 93. So when I got to the department, right, everything was manual. Everything, the register. So I was like equivalent of foreign exchange department, Forex. So in our bank, we call it International Business Center. So where you do letters of credits, collections, and all those things. And everything is manual, everything manual. Then from the first day I joined, I knew I couldn't continue to do that manual. Then you have to fill register. Then when you have to do something, then you have adding machine. You had those things and you take it to your boss to sign. But right there in the department, we had then, it's one PC to about 20 people, to about 15 people. But the PC was there. People were not looking at them. After my first week there, what did I do? So there's what is a system they call Lotus 1, 2, 3. Some of us may not know. It's now called Excel. I myself, when I was in university, I used a punch card. Punch card, that's where you don't even see, you get the computer lab, computer department, but there's no computer, the computers are limited. Then I know within 1 week, I learned how to use that Lotus 1, 2, 3. And after that, everything I want to do, so if they ask me to do anything, I'll go to the computer. It's just even putting, figures together and somebody has to sign. I'll go there, put it in that, then the thing will add it by itself and you print it out. When I take it to my boss, rather than taking, because if I take that thing manually, I take to him, what he would do is that he has to now compute everything by himself and add it together. When I take it to the machine, I do that. All he just checks is that the figures are, he knows that if the figures are correct, the sum is correct. Without fail. He just changed the dynamics of everything I was doing. So he was just thinking binary, that if I don't take what is on paper into the computer, I cannot add value. So it's binary is adding value. Binary is looking everything from a digital perspective. So that's the binary thinking. So, and the best example I've given you is that using those children, that they will take an iPad from when you give them an iPad immediately, and they'll start using it. They are binary by birth. And all of us have the same trait. So they said that their book on binary, how to take people that are not binary and convert them to binary, is about using the analogy of the children and using their brain set that is wired to think that even you as an adult, you were born like that. But because of overtime of keeping things in a non-binary form, some people are now difficult for them to convert. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So instead of having questions, people are just dropping your nugget. I mean, I think their basket is full already, based on the excellent conversations that we've had so far. I want to use this opportunity to thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for, being vulnerable with us. I mean, you used practical examples that are relatable, that we can, go back to our respective organizations to immediately adopt some of this initiative and nugget that you have shared with us today. Amazing, amazing session. I mean, if you look at the chat room, people are just, they are overwhelmed already. They're just dropping the nuggets here and there, and we don't have any other questions. So I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to you once again. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Boju.
Thank you very much, Muturayo. Very excellently anchored conversation. And Wole, Muturayo has said it all. The chat room is saying it still. We are buzzing from this conversation. It's been very enriching. It's been very interesting. It's been engaging. So thank you very, very much. We're all in this conversation with the same mindset. I'm developing a binary mindset. I'm going in to the future, very different to before. So thank you. With that, I would like to now call on Matiak Mashot to introduce to us the Registrar and Chief Executive of CIBN for closing remarks. Thank you very much. Matiak, are you there? Okay, because of our time, I would just call on Mr. Akimuraki, or the Registrar and Chief Executive of the CIBN, to please share with us your closing remarks. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm moderator and the anchor for this event. I want to join my voices with the voice of everyone who has spoken today. But before I make my closing remarks, please permit me to recognize very especially the President and Chairman of Council of our great institute, Professor Pius Dejola Arewaju, the office holders, our erudite and very accomplished guest speaker who has shared great insights with us this morning. And of course, everyone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen on this call. No doubt you will agree with me that this session this morning has been indeed very insightful, it's been educative, it's been informative, and it's been overwhelmingly inspiring. And that is the hallmark of leadership, which our guest speaker has displayed. And I think, no doubt, anyone who is on this call today has enough to chew and think about as we go about in the days and weeks ahead. And so it is often said that everything rises and falls on leadership. And so as leaders, this is an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves and then go back to the stage. Like Stephen Covey said, every good leader must retreat, renew, and return. So no doubt this is a retreat for us this early morning Saturday. And I want to thank the guest speaker for dishing out without holding back. And so if we forget anything, don't forget we've got to be binary, zeros and ones. And so I thank also the chairperson of APWB for providing this platform, which has become a knowledge platform. And from even the discussion this morning, we've got to know that if you want to remain relevant, you must imbibe continuous learning and adaptability. And so we thank you for providing that platform for knowledge sharing. And I want to encourage everyone on this platform that the great end of learning is just learning. It's not just learning, but doing. Whatever you have and you do not use is of no use. So as we go out today, my encouragement is that we go into action mode and begin to execute what we have had. And on this note, I want to congratulate the APWB for yet another very successful program, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much, and I return back to our able anchor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your comments very aptly capture, what the takeaway should be from today and how we should be moving forward. Before we go to our vote of thanks, I would just like to request that please our speaker, the president and chair of the CIBN, our chair of APWB, the chair of the leadership subcommittee and the excos of the APWB, please can you have your cameras on? And indeed our guests, please, all participants, if you could have our cameras on so that we can take a photo. We want to capture this moment. It has been a very engaging session, and we want on record that we were here, we were a part of this, and this was a turning point for many of us. This has been very engaging. Thank you, sir. All right, so we're going to just capture as many as we can. Please, can we turn on cameras? I'm still seeing some cameras turned off. But for the ones that we have, we'll capture what we can right now. So bear with us. Yes, I'm seeing more and more faces. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. So capturing the images. Okay. Let me see if we have any more.
Thank you. It is done.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I think we've captured a couple. But you can still leave your videos on, please. Very beautiful faces. Let's not take away from this. Okay. So thank you all very much. I would like to call on Wumi Adilusi from APWB Expo to give us the vote of thanks, please.
Good morning, everyone. I trust that I'm very audible. It's been a power-packed moment. And indeed, like the chairperson said at the beginning, this is APWB Power Hour, and it has been nothing short of that. And I would like to thank everyone that has stayed on up until this moment. But first, let me also thank our guest speaker, Mr. Wole Adeniyi. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. I kept on writing and writing. So many nuggets from dance, democratize, digitize, disrupt, defend, evolve, social impact. He also made mention of your allocation is determined by your location. Even the role of mentorship, you recommended a book for us to get the power of focus. That is important, and I admonish everyone on the call to also get it. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us, sir. We really appreciate it. I'd like to also thank, the President and Council, Chairman of Council CIBN, Professor Pius. Thank you so much, sir, for that opening remark. It was very insightful. You set the tone. And we are truly grateful that you were able to join us. Thank you to the registrant CEO also. We also would like to thank the chairperson of APWB. If you missed the remarks, very insightful. She made mention of why you should actually join the APWB as a leading woman in the financial services industry. It's important that you're part of us to share more of this knowledge. It's not just the one-off thing. We do this often. She talked about the various programs we run as an association, and would like for you to be part of us. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ladimeji, for your leadership and for steering us in the right direction. To the webinar subcommittee, thank you so much. To the moderator, thank you so much for moderating the session so excellently and with so much poise and grace. Thank you. We really, really, we were engaged all through. Thank you so much, Goju, for being an excellent anchor. I would like to also thank the technical team, an excellent work. Thank you so much. It was glitch-free. So on this note, I would like to thank the ESCO as well for supporting the initiatives of the association. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending a Saturday morning with us. We encourage you to be part of APWB. You can connect with us on all the platforms, social media, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're talking about being digital, right? So no one is too old to join us on the social media platforms. And we are open to take on your suggestions. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely, lovely Saturday. Cheers.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am.